This is Ken. Hope you're having a great weekend. I'm here to talk a little bit about Photoshop. This is the first in a series of screencast videos where I'm going to be talking about essentially art directing inside the observation scans database. Some folks have questioned about what art directing is, and essentially it's you taking creative license to interpret images by working with them. We'll be using Photoshop as a tool to work with them. So it's how you take those images and how you rearrange them, modify them, put them together with other images. And it's all about how you are selecting the images and thinking about how to put them in a sequence which will tell your story. So let's start with Photoshop. If you're going to follow along with this, make sure that you have Photoshop open. Typically what I do is I drag the image that I'd like to take a look at and work with directly on top of the Photoshop icon. So I have some images here that I've downloaded from the assignment. I went into the Mac network and pulled out a couple images. Let's take a look at this first one. This is something from Sophia Abbott. So I'm just going to drag it right on to Photoshop. This is one way to open. And the image should just open up right in Photoshop as it did right there. And you can see here, when you open up the image in Photoshop, I'm going to open up the screen. You get all different types of options inside of your menu. What I like to do first is turn everything off. If you go up here under Window, you'll see all of the different windows that you have access to. And here we have all of those windows showing. You don't need them all. I think the first thing to do really is to remove the clutter depending on how you're working. I'm going to turn things off that aren't necessary at this point and then keep some things that are. One of the things I always have on is layers. Layers is a window that also includes channels and paths. And you can see here that when we opened up the image, it just shows as the image in the background layer. That's typical when you save the image. Here's the image. When we're looking at the image, you can see here down at the bottom left, I'll zoom in, that we're looking at this image at 66% of its actual size. The size as scanned is 750 pixels by 1334 pixels, and it's captured at 72 pixels per inch. Now, that actually should be 150 pixels, so remember when you are scanning or you're capturing your images, you want to scan or capture your images at 150 pixels per inch. This allows you to do a little bit more enlarging and of kind of higher quality as we're working with the images inside Photoshop. However, if you've already done everything at 72, at this point, just leave them as is, and we'll go from there relative to this assignment. So here's the image. Let's do a couple things, and I'll actually show you a couple things that I do first when I see an image or I put the image inside the desktop. The first thing that I do is take a look at the image. The easiest way to do that is by putting Photoshop into full screen mode. So what I'm going to do here is hit the key F, as in Frank, F again, which puts it in full screen mode. And then I'm going to do Command 0, which extends this image to fit the screen. So that's F, F, Command 0. If you're on a PC, it's probably Control 0. So what I do here first is really take a look at the image. So here it is in the desktop. I'm taking a look at it. I'm seeing what can I do with it. Can I use this inside my idea? Is there something that I want to take from it? Is there something that I want to modify? Is there something that I want to change about it. The escape key takes you right back to the beginning. So it puts you back into the image in its tab form. What I mean by that is, here's the image, Abbott 7 JPEG, and it's in a tab form. I can drag that image out of the tab form, and there it is as its own window. And I can drag it back into that if I want, put it back into that tab. The value that way is that, having tabs, is that I can open multiple images. So I could open up another image by just dragging it right onto Photoshop, and it opens in tab form. I can take another image, and you can have many images open at once. The key there is that you're able to take a look at images and see if you can move things around, add or subtract things. Here I'm opening a couple images from Lauren, I believe, and something from Hall. I'm sorry, I don't know your first name, Hall, but there's some beautiful work that everyone has done here. Do want to take the opportunity to say that I'm impressed with both the internal and external observations. So here are the images in Photoshop, and I can move around and take a look at each of these, thinking about what I might want to do with them. So this is the first step inside Photoshop, is opening the image, investigating the image by FF tab. FF tab will remove your menu options, your toolbar, and then Command 0 puts everything inside at the largest possible enlargement within the window. That's called Fit in Window, Command 0.